Hi, I'm Nick from Dorman Products, and this video is on Dorman chassis. Chassis is a term used to describe parts we're all familiar with, but really it encompasses many of the parts of the steering and suspension system which are very different in terms of construction method and tasks performed. However, controlling the direction of the vehicle, making it ride nicely, bearing the load of the automobile, and protecting occupants in the event of a crash are all obviously very critical tasks, and Dorman chassis parts are built to handle it. To illustrate Dorman's approach to chassis, I want to tell you a story. When I began repairing cars, the removal of grease fittings and the implementation of polymer bearings in ball joints, tie rod ends, and sway bar end links was seen as a cost-cutting measure. I, like many technicians, was told to seek out greasable fittings and metal bearings because that was the good stuff. And as it turns out, that's now a very outdated viewpoint, but it's one I still hear from many mechanics. In the days of a true lube job, when a mechanic would hit dozens of grease ports on the bottom of a car while changing the oil, this is an approach that makes sense. Metal bearings are reliable and live long, happy lives when lubricated regularly. But like the tune-up of years gone by, as parts were removed from the service schedules, mechanics stopped actively seeking out lube points. And now in modern times, many techs don't even know to look for them unless instructed by the customer. All the while, polymers were improving because cars were improving. Service intervals were getting longer for oil changes, the primary reason that a car got into a bay where a mechanic could look it over. Couple that with the ease of skipping a tire rotation, and you arrive at modern cars that are in their prime repair age, potentially seeing a mechanic just once every 10,000 miles for an oil change and an inspection sticker. The traditional greasable metal bearing doesn't thrive in these conditions. The OEMs don't use them mainly because of their shorter maintenance intervals that they demand. In a situation where neglect is likely, a sealed unit with self-lubricating polymer bearings will soldier along quietly and safely far longer than its higher maintenance counterpart. In most of today's passenger vehicles, I opt for matching OE construction. Dorman chassis exactly meets OEM specifications in this regard. There's no point in delivering a more expensive product that dies faster because it needs more maintenance than a customer will expect that it ever required. Here, look at this table of some of the most common vehicles on the road. Many of these have extended service intervals of up to 10,000 miles. As you can see, a competitor ball joint may just be a high quality item, but it could be destined for failure before you take it out of the box. This is the mindset behind Dorman chassis, and it's at the core of how this premium option keeps customers on the road and keeps them pleased with the quality of front-end repairs that they receive. Metal bearings, no matter how long-lived, just can't mimic the low steering effort and smooth operation that low-friction polymer offers. Sticking with the same construction type keeps vehicle feel and handling exactly as your customer remembered it feeling the day the car was driven off the lot. Motorists are sensitive to how their car performs, and Dorman is sensitive to choosy motorists, and you should be as well. Now let's delve into some other construction features that dovetail in nicely. With top-shelf chassis parts, some features are just table stakes. Obviously, we feature sealed boots to keep corrosion and debris out of the joints. We also use corrosion-resistant coatings on both the studs and housings, and then fill them with premium lithium grease for long service lives, yet another advantage. Many shops performing lubrication services on serviceable chassis items are using subpar lubricants. Instead, the Dorman design keeps premium lube where we want it, in the low-friction polymer bearings. And how does it all stack up? Well, we can quantify that through testing, something that we do very often. We test OEM developed stringent requirements for our chassis parts. This includes purchasing OEM units and measuring them in our state-of-the-art metrology lab. We then strength test the materials so we can formulate our own unique designs, and then we make sure we're on par with the OEM offerings. Be sure to see our additional chassis video where you can find some highlights of the testing that we perform to keep customers and repair facilities' reputations safe. In some cases, we don't just meet OE performance, but exceed it, which brings me to another value you'll find with Dorman chassis, OE Fix. OE Fix parts are designed to deliver a better repair solution than what you can find from the OEM. Many of our OE Fix chassis parts are made to be more durable than the factory design. And often we use superior materials, and sometimes we make designs adjustable to help bring vehicles into proper alignment specs. Other times, the design is simply reworked to provide greater longevity, and in other cases, we deliver smarter replacements that simplify service and eliminate unnecessary repair costs, something that all vehicle owners will appreciate. Lastly, you really can't talk about chassis without coverage. An average vehicle might have 4 control arms, 2 ball joints, 4 sway bar end links, 2 inner tie rods, 2 sway bar bushings, 2 outer tie rod ends, and a few body mount bushings. The first hurdle in chassis is having most of the parts for most of the cars. Dorman's chassis is the premium option for most vehicles on the road, and it's the largest in terms of parts in our portfolio. It's simple. We make the most parts of our line of best parts. Whether you're a repair professional or vehicle owner, when you look for Dorman Chassis, you can rest assured that you'll find all the parts that you need to repair those vehicles that are most commonly found on the roads today. We also offer some things not all competition brings to the table. Supporting hardware for some of these parts can be hard to track down mid-job, and we offer some of those parts to ease installation. All in all, when you select Dorman brand chassis, you know that you're getting like new car performance from a part that's going to last. And if you see consistent failures on an original equipment design, odds are very good that we have already reworked the part to meet the expectations of the service facility staff and motorists both hold. We hope you'll find our chassis parts and suspension parts top-notch since we created them to be. And remember, if you need anything at all, the Dorman technical support team is always available to help. Thanks for checking out our video on Dorman Chassis. I'm Nick, and I'll see you next time.